Here's my chocolate Carolina Reaper. A few days ago there was a windstorm that passed through Ontario and it blew over my plant, and I have chosen a stem that was snapped off to show you guys how to propagate pepper stems so that you can continue the plant for the following season. This is a really healthy plant, and unfortunately it got blown over from the wind, so I'm going to take that stem and teach you guys how to propagate pepper plants. So as you see it here, these are all the materials that you're going to need. I have, from right to left, a sharp knife. You're going to need this to cut the base of the stem here. I also, for this video, I'm going to use some really sharp tweezers, just because there are still some flower heads that we're about to flower, and I want to take those off so that the plant can focus its energy on rooting rather than continuing to produce fruit. And then you can use a glass of water. Alternatively, I see other videos that are using water bottles. You just take the cap of it off, and then you can fill it and leave it in the windowsill or something. I prefer to use a pretty heavy glass here that, you know, you can leave it and it's not going to fall over or anything. And then of course your stem here, or your transplant. You could also alternatively use just scissors here. I prefer to use the sharp knife. I just sharpen this because it's going to give you a cleaner, sharper cut for the root here. What I wanted to zoom in here for was to show you where the plant was going to produce a fruit. These are flower buds that are going to come out. And I'm going to explain the rationale for why I'm choosing to cut these off, and that's because it takes a significant amount of energy for a healthy plant to throw down buds like that and then flower and then produce fruit. So we're gonna go ahead and cut these off with these tweezers. They're quite sharp. They do the job really well. I've done it before, and that way it's going to tell the plant, or our transplant here, that we're going to use for propagating, to save the energy. Instead of producing fruits, rather use it to produce roots at the bottom of the plant. Great, so let's get started. All you're going to do is you're just going to take your tweezers, pinch it, and it comes right off. Just kind of like that. And I'll fast forward through this. Like this, there's no buds on it anymore. Just like that. And then we'll go ahead and take the ones off from the top. As close to the vine as you can get it. You get the idea. All you're doing is just trying to remove the buds from the pepper. So it's just the leaves itself, so it'll save energy. But in the long term, this will significantly help the energy production of your plant, and it'll continue to shoot out roots from the bottom. So what I've done was, I just took my scissors here, earlier, and cut off the stems here, or cut off the leaves, right from here. We don't want to cut too many leaves away, and I'll continue to cut a couple off here. We want to leave enough so that it continue to use photosynthesis to continue to grow roots out. I'm going to trim up this leaf too at the top, just like that. And I might even cut off the new buds coming out, just like that. If you can find a couple, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's good there. And so you're going to make a cut on the bottom. So once you've got all this cleaned up, you've trimmed off all of the growing buds at the top. You've trimmed up the stem, so it's about, I don't know, about the length of your hand. And then you go ahead and you make a 45-degree cut on the bottom, right here at the end of your transplant that you're going to use for propagating. Just like that. So like I said, take your knife, put it on a 45, don't cut it into 90, 45, just go straight down. Alternatively, you can use scissors like I said, but I would suggest using a sharp knife. Just be careful with it. And lastly, we're going to use the glass of water. So you take your transplant and you just drop it in. And in about 3 weeks time, you should see a bunch of roots starting to grow up from the bottom. And just like that, you have successfully propagated a pepper plant.